Want to speak real Korean from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at KoreanClass101.com.
Hi everyone, I'm Jae-hui. In this video, we'll be talking about top 25 Korean nouns. Okay, let's see what we have first. 것, a thing or an object. So when you're doing some shopping, you like something that you like, that you don't like, then you can say 저는 이것이 좋아요, but 저는 저것이 싫어요. I don't like this, I don't like that. 수, way, method, number. It has three different meaning, method, way, numbers. For example, 사람 수가 많이 있다. In that case, 수 means number. And if you're in a big trouble and you don't know what to do, you can also say 수가 없다. 나, I. So this is the informal way to say I as a pronoun. So you can say 나는 나야. I myself. 나는 김치가 좋아. 나는 한국이 좋아. 나는 한국 사람이 좋아. Can be a good examples. But when you talk with someone older than you, you cannot say 나. Instead, you have to say 저, which is formal version to say I. 사람, person. When you talk about a person, don't use 것 because 것 is for a thing. So you cannot say 이것이 좋아 when you talk about someone you love. Instead, you can say 이 사람이 좋아. 사람 means person. 우리, we, or our. It literally means our or we, but even if it's only about myself, talking about my country, then I'll say 우리나라, meaning our country. Even though you are not Korean, I'll just say our country, 우리나라, when talking about Korea. Even with your friend, you can say 우리 가족, literally meaning our family, even though you want to mean my family. The way to improve your Korean first is to use 우리 more often. 그, he, that. We usually don't use 그 or he, 그녀, she when we make sentences because it doesn't sound natural to use a specific pronoun about the person. So when you hear 그, you can just think that it's about that person, 거, thing. This is a little bit casual way to say 것, which also means thing. 그거 주세요, 저거 주세요. 이거 싫어요, 저거 좋아요. When you talk with a friend, you just use 거, not 것. 년, ear. So when you talk about ear in Korean, you have to use this noun after numbers. For example, 2001년, the year of 2001. You cannot simply say 2001. So with the word you can say 저는 3년 전에 서울에 왔습니다, which means I came to Seoul 3 years ago. 한, one, or single. So when you want to talk about one something, like one place, one person, you can use this word with the other noun. For example, 한 사람, one person, 한 곳, a place. 말, words. When you talk about Korean, you can say 한국어, but also you can say 한국말, which literally means Korean words. So when you want to say I learn Korean, you can say both 한국어를 공부합니다 and 한국말을 공부합니다. And there's another word meaning horse with the same pronunciation, so make sure you understand it correctly. 일, work. So when Korean people want to ask you what is your job or what do you do, they will say 무슨 일 하세요? So here, 일 was used to mean work. And also Korean people have a lot of work. Usually they work like more than 10 hours a day. They also have a lot of work to do. So in the case, I can say 저도 일이 많이 있어요. 씨, honorific suffix to mean Mr., Miss, Mrs. So let's say you want to call someone who is not your friend but whom you know their name. In that case, you can simply say their name and put 씨. But make sure that you don't put family name there like you do in English. You have to put their first name. So my family name is 이. So if you just call me 이씨 using my family name and that honorific suffix, it sounds rude. So don't do that. You can just call me 재휘 씨 using my first name instead of family name. We have another suffix 님, which is more formal than 씨. So you can use it when you call your teacher, like saying 선생님, 일, day. It has the same pronunciation of the word meaning work. Usually you can use it when you read the date. For example, you can say 7월 2일 to mean July 2nd. Or you can also find this word in the word like 내일, meaning tomorrow, and say 내일이 좋아요, which means tomorrow is good. 사회, society. Korean people talk a lot about politics, and in that case, we use 사회 a lot. So if someone is critical about the situation going around Korean society, he might say 한국 사회에는 문제가 많이 있다. Or someone would say 한국 사회는 살기 좋다. 그것, that thing. So it has two words that we learned earlier. 그, meaning that, 것, meaning thing. So for example, when you don't know how to read something in Korean, you can just say 그것 어떻게 읽어요? 집, house, home. So if you're in Korea, you might hear some phrases like 우리 집에 놀러 와. So 집 literally means house, home. So even though you want to say my home, make sure to use the pronoun 우리 and say 우리 집. 문제, problem. For example, like when you take a test and the questions are so difficult, you can say 문제가 너무 어려워. 저, that. You can use this pronoun when you talk about something away from you. So when you do shopping and the item you want to have is far away from you, then you can say 저거, 속, inside. So usually you can use it when you talk about something inside of something. For example, 가방 속에 뭐가 있어요? Meaning what's inside your bag. And there's another word meaning inside, which is 안, to mean the same. 대, place. For formal situation, we use 곳, but for casual, like informal, we use 대. For example, 먹을 때, place to eat. 경우, case. To make you look more smart, you can use this word. For example, 이 경우, this case, 저 경우, that case. 중, center. So you can use this word when you want to say in the middle of something. For example, you can say 한국 음식 중에 뭐가 가장 좋아요? Which literally means in the middle of Korean food, which one do you like the most? So usually it's used with a group of something. 자신, oneself. Unlike the English word oneself, like we usually use it when we give the advice. For example, 너 자신을 알라, which means you should know yourself. Usually we also use this word to mean confidence and say 자신이 있다. One, Korean one. In Korean, you have to say won every time when you talk about money. For example, 2만 원, 2천 원. So when you want to exchange US dollar to won, you can just simply say 달러를 원으로 바꿔주세요. 사랑, love. In Korea, we usually try to be a little bit indirect when talking about love. So we usually use the phrase something like 사랑하는 사람, which means people who I love. So with the one, you can say 사랑해, I love you, or 사랑합니다, I love you formally. Okay, that's all top 25 Korean nouns that we have in this video. Make sure to subscribe. I'll see you next time. 다음 시간 뵙겠습니다. 안녕히 계세요. Yeah. Hi everyone, I'm Jae-hee. In this video, you'll learn about top 25 Korean verbs. Let's get started. 가다, to go. So when you are going to somewhere, you can just say something something에 가다. So you're with your Korean friends and now you want to go to a club. You can say 클럽에 가고 싶어. 클럽에 가자. 클럽에 갈까? 가지다, to have. So in Korean drama, like there's a girl who wanna get married with a rich guy and she will say 저 남자 갖고 싶어. I wanna have the guy. 나오다, to come out. You are moving out of the place, you can just say 나오다. 놀다, to play. Let's say you want to hang out with your friend is at home sleeping. You just call him and just say 나와, 놀자. That means like to come out and hang out with me. 놓다, to put. So when you just put something, you can just say 놓다. 마우스를 놓다. 아이패드를 놓다. 대답하다, to answer. You're in a classroom and you ask a very difficult question to your teacher. He doesn't answer, then you say 대답해 주세요, please. You can use it only to mean to answer a question. 돕다, to help. you need some help in Korean, then you can say 도와주세요. And the other person say 도와드릴게요, which means I'll help you. So usually we say 도와주다 a little bit more, which really means to give a help. 듣다, to hear, to listen. So 음악을 듣다, ums. I'm listening to KoreanClass101.com podcast. 마시다, to drink. You can use this verb for any types of drinks. So water or soju, 맥주, any types of. So we also use the verb 먹다 to talk about beverage too. So you can use 마시다 or 먹다. That's how we drink soju. 만나다, to meet. So even if you meet someone for the first time, second time, third time, you can say 만나다. You meet someone first time, 만나서 반가워요. Second time, 만나서 반가워요. Third time, 만나서 반가워요. Every time you can use it. 만나서 반가워요. 말하다, to say, to speak. 마이크에 말하다. 음시. 만나서 반가워요. 이름이 뭐예요? 먹다, to eat. 잘 먹겠습니다. 먹다. 잘 먹었습니다. You can use it to mean to drink. So you can say 물을 먹다 too. 모르다, to not know. 모르겠어요. I don't know. You can also say 모르겠어요. I don't understand. 잘 모르겠어요. 받다, to receive. 선물을 받겠습니다. 선물. 보다, to try. For example, you can say 춤을 춰보다. 보다, to see. So you see something like you watch TV, you see a movie, you see, your loved one, you can always use this one verb, 보다. So 영화를 보다, 텔레비전을 보다, 드라마를 보다, 콘서트를 보다. All with the verb 보다. I'll watch some drama then. 사용하다, to use. For any type of tools, you can use this verb and also with a language. For example, 한국어를 사용하다. And when you dance, you can say 몸을 사용하다. 아니다, to not be. Anything like no, not, you can just use this. You don't like this food? You can say 아니야. You don't like it. 알다, to know. Someone is talking about things that you know, boring. You can say 알아. I know. Your parents are talking about things that you have to do. You can say 알아요. I know. 않다, to not do. You can use this with any types of verbs. For example, 먹지 않다, 보지 않다, 가지 않다, 춤추지 않다. 오다, to come. 가다 was to go. 오다 is for to come. So in the morning, 학교에 가다. But in the afternoon, 집에 오다. 있다, to be. This verb is the magic word because it can mean there is, to be, using the same word. So simply just say the noun for the object and say 있다. 사람이 있다, 나무가 있다, 학교가 있다, 집이 있다. 좋아하다, to like. So you can just put any type of object and say 좋아하다. For example, 김치를 좋아하다, 밥을 좋아하다, 춤을 좋아하다. If you want to date with someone, then you can just start with this as the first question. 뭘 좋아해? What do you like? 주다, to give. 선물을 받다, and next day, 선물을 주다. So when someone is moving in and you are invited to the home party, you have to bring a pack of toilet papers. 두루마기 휴지를 주다. For those who just moved in. 하다, to do. In Korean, we have a lot of verbs with this word inside. 하다. For example, 노래하다, 청소하다, 공부하다. Okay, that's all top 25 Korean verbs that we have. And thank you for watching. And please make sure to subscribe. I'll see you next time. 감사합니다. Bye, guys. Hi, everyone. I'm Jae-hui. In this video, we'll be talking about top 25 Korean phrases. Okay, let's see what we have first. 안녕하세요. Hello. This is the greeting that you can use for the formal situation. When you meet someone for the first time, you can say 안녕하세요. 만나서 반갑습니다, which means hello, it's nice to meet you. Or with your friend, you can just say 안녕 without 하세요, just to say hello to your friend. 여보세요. Hello on the phone. You have to use a different phrase when you want to say hello on the phone. So say 띠리리리링 안녕 네, 안녕하세요. 띠리리리리 여보세요. 여보세요. That's so you can say 안녕하세요 when you're talking on the phone. It sounds weird. 오랜만이에요. Long time no see. When you're just shopping in the department store and you see someone you haven't met for a long time, you can just say 오랜만이에요 to mean long time no see. Or with friend, you can say 오랜만이야. Long time no see. 안녕히 주무세요. Good night. Actually, it literally means please sleep well. So you can use this phrase only with someone who is living together with you, like your parents. So to your parents, 안녕히 주무세요. So at night, you can say 안녕히 주무세요. Then your parents will be, and then you'll be 잘 자, good night. So 잘 자 is informal way to say good night. So to your wife, to your husband, brother or sister, you can just say 잘 자, and then you can just go back to sleep. 안녕히 계세요, goodbye. There are two ways to say goodbye. This one is the one that you can use when you leave. Let's say you are invited to someone's house. You had a really great time, you leave. In that case, you can say 안녕히 계세요. 안녕히 가세요. Goodbye. Let's say you are the host of the party. You invited everyone to your home, had a really great time, and then everyone is leaving now. You want to say 안녕히 가세요 because your stay, everyone else is leaving. For example, you can say 안녕히 가세요. 와주셔서 감사합니다, which means goodbye, thank you for coming. 만나서 반가워요. Nice to meet you. When you meet someone for the first time, you can say 안녕하세요, then say 만나서 반가워요. Or if someone is younger than you can just say 만나서 반가워 in informal way. So for those who just watched the video of me for the first time, let me say 만나서 반가워요. 모르겠어요. I do not know. Let's say on the street, you're in Seoul, someone asks you something in Korean, you don't know. You have no idea what he's talking about. Then you can just simply say 모르겠어요. I do not know. In informal way, 모르겠어. 감사합니다. Thank you. Let's say you got a gift and you can say 선물 감사합니다. Thank you for the gift. So you can just simply say 감사합니다 or the noun plus 감사합니다 to mean thank you for something. 고맙습니다. Thank you. You can say 감사합니다 or 고맙습니다 to say thank you, but if you want to make it sound more friendly, you can say 고맙습니다. 선물 고맙습니다. Thank you for the gift. 초대 감사합니다. Thank you for the invitation. 잠깐만 기다려주세요. Wait a moment, please. Let's say you're late and you see your boss is about to leave. 잠깐만 기다려주세요. 죄송합니다. Sorry. 죄송합니다. 죄송합니다. 미안합니다. Sorry. Don't use this when you make a big mistake, but if it is not big, then you can just say 미안합니다. That's enough. So when you bump into someone on the street, then you can say this. 미안합니다. Because it's not a big mistake. 알겠습니다. I understand. So let's say you made a huge mistake at your company and your boss will be like, 너 지금 뭐 하는 거야? You can say, after listening to everything, you can say, 알겠습니다. I understand. 선생님 질문 있어요. 선생님 이름이 뭐예요? 알겠습니다. 잘 다녀오세요. Have a good journey. You can say that to those who are going to take a big trip, but usually we also use that to a father who is about to go to work, and we just say 잘 다녀오세요. 좋은 하루 되세요. Have a nice day. 잘 다녀오세요 literally means please go out and come back safely. So you can say only when someone is leaving and you are staying in and waiting for that person. 이름이 뭐예요? What's your name? 이름이 뭐예요? 이름이 뭐예요? 재휘예요. 네. 이름이 뭐예요? 재휘입니다. 알겠습니다. 이름이 뭐예요? What's your name? 제 이름은 입니다. My name is 제 이름은 이재휘입니다. My name is 이재휘. 안녕. 어서 오세요. Welcome. So you got into the store and you hear 어서 오세요 or 어서 오세요, or you got a guest coming into your place. You can say 어서 오세요, welcome. 실례합니다, excuse me. You have to catch your bus and you have to go through the crowd. Then you have to say 실례합니다, 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 실례합니다. When you want to ask a question, you can also say 실례합니다, then your question. 잘 먹겠습니다. I will eat well. Thank you for the meal. You're at the restaurant, you got a lot of food, and you're about to eat. Before you eat, you have to say 잘 먹겠습니다. Even if you're alone, you have to say 잘 먹겠습니다. 잘 먹겠습니다. 잘 먹었습니다. I ate well. Thank you for the meal. 잘 먹었습니다. When you leave a restaurant, you can say 잘 먹었습니다 to the staff to say thank you for the meal. 맛있게 드세요. Bon appetit. Let's say this is the food that I made with seaweed, huge seaweed. 맛있게 드세요. 맛있게 드세요. 잘 먹겠습니다. I'm hungry. 이거 얼마예요? How much is this? So you go to shopping, you found the item you really want to have, and then you can say 이거 얼마예요? 저거 얼마예요? 그거 얼마예요? Then you get the price, but don't accept that. You have to try the discount. Say 깎아주세요 to get you discount. That's all top 25 Korean phrases. Thank you for watching it and please make sure to subscribe. 좋은 하루 보내세요. Have a nice day. 잘 먹겠습니다. 이거 재미를.
Want to speak real Korean from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at KoreanClass101.com.
Hi everyone, I'm Jae-hee. In this video, we have top 25 Korean adjectives. 조용하다, quiet. So you can say 이 방은 조용하다. This room is quiet. So if someone is making a lot of sounds like I'm doing now, you can say 조용히 해, be quiet. 같다, same. So for example, if your eye vision is the same, you can say 이쪽 눈 시력과 이쪽 눈 시력은 같다. 시끄럽다, loud, noisy. So if your neighbor is making a lot of sounds, you can just go there and boom, 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 hit the door and say 시끄러. It's too noisy. Or 이 음악은 너무 시끄럽다. This music is so noisy. Well, for example, when you're on a bus and people just keep talking, then you can say that, 이 버스는 너무 시끄러워. This bus is so noisy. 귀엽다, cute, cute. In Korea, we have something like 뿌잉 뿌잉. So if you find someone who is very cute, you can just say, 정말 귀여워요. You're so cute. 다르다, different. And when you're fighting with your friend in Korean, sometimes you might want to say that 나는 너와 달라, which means I'm different from you. 크다, big, large. Usually we use 크다 when talking about the size. For example, 방이 크다. Wow, this room is big. But also we use it when we talk about the height. For example, 그 사람은 키가 크다. That person is tall. But it literally means that person's height is big. 많다, many. So if you just put this after noun, that means that there are many of something. For example, you can say 우리 집에는 개가 많다, which means there are many dogs in my house. 좋다, good. When you love someone, you can use the verb something like 사랑하다, but it sounds too direct. So Korean people usually use 좋아하다 to mean love too, even though it literally means to like. You can use 좋다 to mean good in general. Like for example, 저는 단 음식이 좋아요. I like sweet food. 뭐가 좋아요? What do you like? 행복하다, happy. So this adjective have the noun 행복, which means happiness. So you can say something like 저는 행복한 사람이 되고 싶어요, which means I want to be a happy person. About me, I think I can say 매운 음식은 저를 행복하게 합니다, which means spice food makes me happy. 기쁘다, glad. So I want to say that 여러분이 이 비디오 레슨을 보고 있어서 저도 기뻐요, which means I'm glad that you're watching this video. 화나다, angry. And then I just hear some music and 1 hour later I just be like this. So, yeah. 화가 났어요? Are you angry? Like You know, when you see someone who looks serious, who look angry, you can just ask, 화가 났어요? 슬프다, sad. So this adjective, 슬프다, can be used with other nouns, something like 슬픈 영화, sad movie, 슬픈 드라마, sad drama, 슬픈 노래, sad song. 아프다, sick. So when you feel sick, you can simply say 몸이 아파요. 피곤하다, tired. After you work a lot, you got home, and then you can say, 피곤해. I feel tired. And when you see your friend looking tired, you can just simply ask 피곤해 or formally 피곤해요 to ask, are you tired? 배가 고프다, hungry. When I feel hungry, I feel sad, I feel angry, I feel miserable at the same time. In that case, I can say 배가 고파서 화가 납니다. I feel angry because I feel hungry. So when I feel hungry, and plus when I feel tired, plus when I feel stressful, I'll always go for spicy food, 매운 음식. And then when you want to ask someone to go out for dinner, you can just say 배고파, are you hungry? 목이 마르다, thirsty. I feel thirsty now, actually. It literally means I have a dry throat. You feel thirsty, and you can say 목이 말라서 죽을 것 같아. I'm feeling dying because I feel thirsty. 졸리다, sleepy. 너무 많이 먹어서 졸려요. I ate a lot, so I'm sleepy. Or you can say that 졸려요, 이제 잘게요. I'm sleepy. I'm going to bed. 무섭다, scared. So when you have someone who is very strict, yelling at you all the time, you can say that 저는 그 사람이 무서워요. I'm scared of that person. If you like Korean movie, then you can find a lot of scary movies like Old Boy. The character of the movie Old Boy is the scariest character I've ever seen because he waited for 10 years to give the revenge, which is a long time. So when I was watching the movie, I was like, 짜증나다, annoyed. You might hear many Korean people say, 짜증나. It's so annoyed. 놀라다, surprised. When you're surprised, you can say, 놀랐어. I'm surprised. And then when you are surprised really a lot, then you can use the adverb 깜짝. So say 깜짝 놀라다, which means I surprised a lot. 수줍다, shy. We have some phrases like 수줍어서 이야기를 잘 못했어요. I couldn't talk that much because I feel shy. 재미있다, interesting. 재미 means fun, 있다 means there is. So it literally means there is a fun. 지루하다, boring. The meaning is the same as 재미없다. Both 재미없다, 지루하다 mean boring. 그 영화는 정말 지루해. That movie is really boring. 헷갈리다, confused. So when you're confused, you can just say that, 헷갈려. Like you're not sure if A is A, if A is B, or if A is C, then you can say, 헷갈려. I'm confused. 헷갈려요. 조금 더 자세히 이야기해 주세요. I'm confused. Please tell me more about it. 멋지다, cool. So when you see something cool, you can say that, 와, 멋지다. Wow, that's cool. Or about a person, you can say that, 저 사람 멋지다. Wow, that person is cool. Okay, that's all top 25 Korean adjectives that we have for this video. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. 다음 시간에 뵙겠습니다. 안녕히 계세요. 떡볶이. Hi everyone, I'm Jae-hui. In this video, we'll be talking about 10 reasons to learn Korean. Alright, let's begin. 가장 좋아하는 노래, 영화와 TV 프로그램을 이해하고 싶어요. I want to understand my favorite songs, movies, and TV shows. 가장 좋아하는 노래, 영화, 그리고 텔레비전 프로그램을 이해하고 싶어요. I want to understand my favorite songs, movies, and TV shows. I think this is the most popular reason why people these days learn Korean. I think some of the phrases that you hear a lot from Korean songs and TV shows would be something like 보고 싶어, I miss you, 사랑해, I love you, or something like 뭐해, what's up, what are you doing. 그것은 제 대학 공부의 일부입니다. It's part of my university studies. 제 대학 공부의 일부분입니다. It's part of my university studies. There are some people who study Asian languages at a college, and they usually started with Chinese, Japanese, and I think they extended to Korean. The interesting thing was that like if they know Chinese and Japanese, actually they catch up Korean very quickly. 아름다운 언어예요. It's a beautiful language. 아름다운 언어예요. It's a beautiful language. Here we have the word 아름다운, meaning beautiful. I think it's because how they learn Korean actually, like many of them started learning Korean from Korean songs, Korean drama, which have a lot of phrases about confessing love or something about love. 눈에 넣고 싶을 만큼 사랑해. Something like I love you as much as I want to put you into my eyeballs. 저는 그 언어를 사용하는 국가에 살고 있습니다. I live in a country that speaks the language. 저는 그 언어를 사용하는 국가에 살고 있습니다. I live in a country that speaks the language. If you're in Korea, then you can say that 저는 한국어를 사용하는 나라에 살고 있습니다. I live in a country that speaks Korean. If you have any plan to live in Korea, I think learning Korean would be the easiest way to get to love with the culture and also make a lot of friends here. 저는 그 언어를 사용하는 사람들과 문화를 좋아해요. I love the culture and the people who speak the language. 저는 그 언어를 사용하는 사람들과 문화를 좋아해요. I love the culture and the people who speak the language. I think this is the reason that Korean people want to hear when they ask you why you learn Korean. Without loving the culture and the people of the language, I think it's not easy to keep motivating yourself for a long period of time. 저는 그냥 언어 배우기를 좋아해요. I just love learning languages. 저는 그냥 언어 배우기를 좋아해요. I just love learning languages. So if you are the one who might say 저는 그냥 언어 배우기를 좋아해요, then I think you can start learning Korean and thinking that you later master Chinese using what you know about Korean. 저는 누구에게 잘 보이기 위해 그 언어를 배우고 있습니다. I'm learning the language to impress someone. 저는 누군가에게 잘 보이기 위해 그 언어를 배우고 있습니다. I'm learning the language to impress someone. I think if you have a boyfriend or girlfriend who is Korean, I think this might be the reason later to learn Korean because you get a chance to meet his or her parents. And if you speak a little bit of Korean, they'll be very impressed. In the case, you can say that 저는 제 여자친구의 or 저는 제 남자친구의 부모님에게 잘 보이기 위해서 한국어를 배우고 있습니다. I'm learning Korean to impress my boyfriend or girlfriend's parents. 저는 열린 마음을 갖고 있는 더 국제적인 사람이 되고 싶습니다. I want to open my mind and become more international. 저는 넓은 마음을 갖고 있는 더 국제적인 사람이 되고 싶습니다. I want to open my mind and become more international. I think that's actually the true. Like if you know more languages, then you can be more open-minded because you have to accept the different cultural things when you learn new languages. So if you want to be more international, I think learning the language will be a good reason to start. 저는 여행을 좋아해요. I love traveling. 저는 여행을 좋아해요. I love traveling. So if you love traveling, I love traveling too. In the case, you can just say that 저는 여행을 좋아해요 as one of the reasons to study Korean and just learn 20, 30 basic phrases. 노래방에서 한국어로 노래를 부르고 싶어요. I want to sing Korean songs at karaoke. Yeah, karaoke or 노래방 is really popular place to make new friends, hang out with them. And if you sing a Korean song well, it doesn't have to be very well in Korean, people will be very impressed. You can just make your goal and say, 저는 한국어로 노래방에서 노래를 부르고 싶어요. I want to sing Korean songs at karaoke and start memorizing Korean phrases from Korean songs. Okay, that's all top reasons to learn Korean. What is your reason to learn Korean? Please leave us a comment in Korean. Then I'll see you next time. 다음 시간에 뵙겠습니다. 안녕히 계세요.